What makes a video game truly great? It's almost impossible to pin down because the criteria can differ so much from game to game. Consistent quality can be expected of series such as The Legend of Zelda, there's no surprise in that, but what's a huge curveball is when a title comes out of relative obscurity to steal our hearts, when it turns gamers at large onto genres they may not even otherwise enjoy. I'm Jess from WhatCulture, and here are 10 video games that had no right being this good. Number 10. Crash Team Racing. Around the time of Crash Team Racing's release in 1999, one thing was certain about the kart racer genre. Nintendo's mustachioed maestro Mario essentially owned it. He and his Mushroom Kingdom friends basically invented and certainly popularized it with 1992's Super Mario Kart. Though, as PlayStation fans will know, Naughty Dog had a string of beloved platformers to their name at this point, in the original Crash Bandicoot trilogy. Their first effort at a kart racer was a triumph too. The roster of characters may not be as particularly inspiring, but the racing action, track design, powerful feeling weapons, Wumpa Fruit boosts, and power slide mechanics all felt extremely polished. A fully featured title that even boasts a story mode, Crash Team Racing remains beloved. The release of Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled in 2019 is a testament to the original game's enduring appeal. Number 9. Minority Report, Everybody Runs. The movie Minority Report, a thrilling take on the Philip K. Dick short story, is quite the rollicking science fiction thrill ride. The pre-crime officers therein are armed with a range of suitably ghastly and futuristic weaponry. Six sticks and so on may not be a pleasant proposition, but it's tough to deny that these sorts of things would be a heck of a lot of fun to employ in a video game. And that's exactly what Minority Report Everybody Runs delivered in 2002. It may play fast and loose with the source material, it may be a little mindless, its environment's a little samey, and its platforming distinctly clunky, but the crucial thing this beat 'em up does have on its side, however, is its hilarious ragdoll physics and the arsenal to take full advantage of it. In his journey to clear his name and apprehend the true villain, pre-crime captain John Anderton wields all manner of disruptors and gravity benders. The environments are widely destructible and foes can be blasted into, over, and straight through just about anything. A good game? Perhaps not. A fantastically fun one? Absolutely. Number 8. Tetris 99. Tetris is one of the oldest and most fondly regarded series in all of gaming. There's arguably no puzzler as pure, as relentlessly addictive. As such, of course, it's been re-realized and revamped countless times. Tetris 99 is probably the most outlandish take on the formula yet. On paper, there's really no way the concept would work. Battle Royale Tetris against almost a century of opponents at once, online. It'd be a chaotic mess, wouldn't it? Well, yeah, and that's exactly what makes it work. Seeing the tiny playfields of your foes around your own central one, sending dastardly volleys of blocks at close competitors, all while battling to maintain your own progress, it's an absurd balancing act. Many naysayers, or even those who weren't the biggest Tetris fans previously, have been converted by this one. Its progression system and collaborations with other big releases like Pokemon Legends Arceus have kept the whole thing ticking along for quite some time now. It's a genuine highlight of Nintendo Switch Online. Number 7. Wii Sports. It's difficult to overstate just how influential Wii Sports was. Simply by virtue of being bundled in with Nintendo's incredibly successful Wii, it became one of the most purchased video games ever. It also ensured that most people's first experiences of the console were brilliantly silly fun. Wii Sports, in a very real way, encapsulated everything the console was about. The whole family could grab the Wiimote and throw their ball in bowling, swing their racket in tennis, their fists in boxing, their bat in baseball, or their club in golf. There have been few get everyone together of the holidays experiences quite like it. The revolutionary nature of the motion controls and the pure accessibility of it all made Wii Sports far, far, far more than the sum of its parts. Number 6. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Ubisoft's Rabbids, in a lot of ways, feel like a silly remnant of a bygone era. They had their time and released a range of silly minigame compilations and such, but we hadn't seen much of consequence from them in some time. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle was perhaps the biggest surprise in the early Nintendo Switch roster. The crossover between the two franchises may have seemed suitable for a party game, but a turn-based strategy title, one of the most serious genres of all, the Rabbids just wouldn't fit such an experience, thought the naysayers at least. Against all odds though, the game proved to be excellent. It's a self-deprecating, humorous, humorous, cartoony adventure, about as far removed from the po-face genre as it could possibly be. At the same time though, it's all backed up by very solid strategy mechanics. The cover system, new and creative abilities to be launched by your allies to cover more ground and physically strike your opponents to chain everything together. It's a blast while not being silly. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle saw a substantial DLC package, as well as a sequel, 2022's Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Number 5. Hades. Supergiant Games were already well regarded among indie connoisseurs. They've carved themselves a reputation for visually and musically sublime titles that twist familiar genres in new directions. Still, Hades was a whole new prospect. On the surface, it sounds quite conventional for a roguelike. Our hero Zagreus proceeds through 4 different areas of the Greek underworld, battling enemies unique to each zone and with a selection of different weapons. Along the way, randomized bonuses, boons from the various gods, change your experience and alter your strategy. It isn't really anything roguelike fans haven't heard before, and many dismissed it for just that reason. What this title does so very well though, is interweave a consistent narrative with the action. Each of your efforts to escape your father Hades' grim lair contributes to the overarching story in some way. Characters mention feats you achieved or foes you were dispatched by, and various NPC relationships offer bonuses for future runs. There's so much to customize and experience, all underpinned by writing that manages to be both hilarious and affecting. Even those who previously got burnt out by the genre or avoided it entirely were brought into the fold. A very special title indeed. Number 4. Resident Evil Revelations. Resident Evil 4 is renowned as one of the greatest video games ever made. It certainly has its flaws and foibles, the questionable dialogue for one thing, but it hit a fantastic compromise between action and survival horror. The 2 games that followed it definitely upset that balance. What the series needed, with 2012's Resident Evil 6 being such a mixed bag, was a title that reminded longtime fans of the Golden Age. That same year, Resident Evil Revelations released. A distinctly smaller scale Nintendo 3DS release, it flew under the radar of many, but perhaps delivered just that. Revelations, with its third-person laser pointer action, was mechanically similar to the Resident Evil titles of its era. It was rather slower paced though, and concentrated more on building an atmosphere than on blasting waves of foes and dramatic set pieces. Not that such things were absent. Proceeding cautiously around Queen Zenobia as Jill Valentine in particular felt like Resident Evil as old fans remember it, albeit less clunky, which newer fans also appreciated. It was surprising that the 3DS of all systems was the original home of such a title. Number 3. Days Gone. The zombie trope has certainly been played out across the industry. Oftentimes they're simple shambling targets, blasted in tremendous numbers in various shooters and action titles. There's a reason why the undead are such horror mainstays, but seeing them so often threatens to dilute their impact. Early in Days Gone's life, the game appeared to be rather one-dimensional in this way, but the developers poured in all the love and care they could muster to make it so much more. Through a series of updates, the game has seen numerous changes, such as its survival difficulty mode, sure to test even the very best. It's a blast thundering around the game's generous map on a motorcycle, and the need to keep it rolling through fuel and various updates and customization options lends true immersion and satisfaction to getting by. The game blends action and survival elements in a way that the illustrious Resi series has often failed to deliver, and it's all the better for it. As with Hades, those who've become jaded with the wider genre are still recommended to give Days Gone a chance, if they haven't already been converted by it. Number 2. King Kong the video game. As longtime gamers will know, the phrase "the official game of the movie" isn't one that tends to be very promising. This isn't always the case, and licensed titles can be wonderful things when treated with due care and respect. The hilarity of Minority Report, the quality of Marvel's Spider-Man titles, or even the Arkham games are a testament to that. Perhaps unbelievably, King Kong is a title worthy of mention in the same breath. The most crucial thing licensed video games should deliver, and the thing they tend to not do, is the feeling of being that character. You want to feel powerful, you want to take part in cinematic battles, and this is one area where King Kong shined. Kong felt like the mighty, brutish yet intelligent creature he is, and every blow struck felt as powerful as it should. Thankfully, there was more to the game, featuring sections where one Jack Driscoll takes over, providing FPS variety without slowing down the action too much. The world Ubisoft created was authentic and faithful, all aspects blended into a very special, now nostalgic experience that still holds up. Number 1. Luigi's Mansion. A new gaming system tends to need a major new launch title or two to really shine. It seems obvious, but all too often there just isn't a killer app that consumers need to pick up on day one. On the launch of the GameCube in the early 2000s, a Super Mario title was still some time away. In the heavy-hitting first-party camp, the console launched with a curious little confection called Luigi's Mansion. It's a title that, in some regards, shouldn't have worked. A kind of baby's first Resident Evil, it's a mansion-roaming extravaganza in which Mario has been kidnapped. His brother must rescue him from the ghost-infested place by sucking up the specters with a special Hoover-esque device. It all seemed pretty silly, a short-lived experience supposed to fill a hole until bigger titles arrived. As time has made clear though, Luigi's Mansion has spawned a successful series. It established Luigi's cowardly demeanor, sure, but it also allowed him to step out of Mario's shadow and star in a series unlike any of his brother's own. Luigi wasn't just a palette swap who can jump higher anymore. That's the end of our list, but let me know down in that comment section if you can think of any other video games that had absolutely no right being as good as they were. As always, I've been Jess from WhatCulture. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you like, you can come say hi to me on my Twitter account where I'm @JessMcDonald, but make sure you stay tuned to us here for plenty more great gaming lists.